Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of the Storytime Society. I'm your host Jamie and I'm so happy you're here. I'm so glad you're alive. Thanks for tuning in to another episode. The theme of this episode is relationship advice, relationship drama, something along those lines. My drink today is a black iced coffee, okay, with a little bit of stevia in it. Yum, delicioso. It's actually good. It's so much better without creamer. I don't know why. Every time I put creamer in this iced coffee, it just doesn't taste good to me. If you haven't already, press the subscribe button. Also, someone told me to ask for hype points or something like that. And I have no idea what this is, but I've been seeing like hyped on some of my videos and I'm like, interesting, what's that? So I guess if you love me, give me some hype or something. Hype me up. Hey. Okay, anyways, let's get into the episode. The title of the first story is My 25 female boyfriend of 5 months spent the night at his ex's house. They were together on and off for 3 years and they broke up officially around this time last year. I'm still friends with one of my exes, so I didn't really think anything of it when he told me he was still friends with one of his. They don't hang out alone. They only hang out with their close-knit friend group. I've met them all and they're really nice people. I've never had any reason to doubt anything that he's told me. He also has been cheated on by this particular ex, and it really shook him up. Otherwise, they'd probably still be together. So I don't think he would ever cheat on me or anyone else. He's just not coded that way. That said, he and I were supposed to hang out last night after work, but I couldn't get a hold of him. His phone was either turned off or the battery was dead. Either way, my night was put on hold for hours until I finally decided to just eat out by myself. I was already dressed and ready to go, so I just left, grabbed some pho by myself, and came home to find 0 texts/calls from him. I left my phone at home by accident. He didn't get back to me, nor did he stop by the apartment, according to my roommate. On a whim, I popped into IG to see what he was doing. If he had posted anything that day, I was partially worried that something bad had happened to him, and partially suspicious. I've never had any reason to feel suspicious of him before. As I scrolled through IG, however, I noticed that his ex had posted something. For whatever reason, I follow her and she follows me. The photo was taken at his favorite restaurant. She took a photo of her dessert, and you can clearly see him in the background, seated across from her, his elbows on the table. She made the post hours before he and I were supposed to hang out, and in the image description, she mentions having a movie night with him. One of their friends, whom I've grown close to, commented on the photo with a question mark. There was no reply. I was kind of numb at that point. I wasn't sure what any of that meant, but I knew he was doing something he shouldn't have been, and that he had blown me off in the process. Again, this was completely unlike him. It could have been that he had simply forgotten our plans. We organized it a week prior, which is long enough to forget. That said, I'm his girlfriend. He should remember. He should at least make sure he's reachable. I went to bed last night feeling sick with worry. And then, when I woke up this morning, I found 5 texts from him saying the following. Quote, "Hey, I'm sorry. I forgot we had plans." Quote, "Kathy and I marathoned Westworld and I fell asleep. My phone died. I'm an idiot. Please forgive me." Quote, "How about I pick you up tonight and we go to that new sushi place on Main? Just you and I. I love you." I don't really know what to think. He's always made a point to never hang out with her alone. He hasn't made any promises to me in any explicit words, but when he and I first got together, he told me things between him and Kathy were completely finished, and that he had no desire to hang out with her alone anymore. He said the only reason they still occasionally see each other is because they're a part of the same social circle. It's the same with my ex and I, except I've never hung out with him one-on-one post-breakup, and I don't plan on it. I replied back asking if anything happened between them, and he said, "No, of course not. I would never do that to you." But he would make himself unavailable for hours without even thinking to say hi to me all day. Our plans were for 8 o'clock. Unless he's had a rough day at work, he usually stays up much later than that, except he didn't have work yesterday. So I don't understand how he would magically fall asleep so early on in the night. I trust him, but at the same time, I feel betrayed. Don't trust him. Ew, sorry. Absolutely not. You're hanging out with an ex. Not only are you hanging out with an ex alone, for what reason? Like, please let me know what the reason is for that. But on top of that, you're telling me you didn't think about your girlfriend one time that whole time. You didn't think about the fact that you had plans with her. You didn't think about the fact that, hey, maybe I should reach out to my girlfriend so she knows I'm okay. Hey, I actually love my girlfriend and I just actually want to be with her and not my ex. Like, that's the crazy part to me. It's like, okay, well, clearly he does not value you as much as he should as a boyfriend. And he's 28 years old. Like, what? You're 28 years old. You're a full blown adult and you're like behaving that way? That's a little crazy to me. Like, I'm sorry I forgot we had plans. Okay, if you forget you have plans, at least you still reach out to your girlfriend. You're such a bullshitter. Like, you're such a bullshitter. And it's honestly so embarrassing that you're, like, acting so nonchalant about it. Not OP, but this guy. Like, he's acting so nonchalant. Like, Kathy and I marathoned Westworld and I fell asleep. As if that's just, like, the most casual thing ever. Oh, you were hanging out with your ex and you fell asleep? And you didn't contact me at all? So you fell asleep with your ex? Couldn't catch me dead. Someone said, yeah, I don't believe a word of his explanation. He has no desire to hang out with her alone anymore, and yet that's exactly what he did. He went on a date with his ex and slept over at her place. Unacceptable. Exactly. That's immediate breakup for me. Oh my God. Especially if that's like, it's such not a like normal thing for him to do. She's like, this is not like him at all. And it's just out of the blue like that. I just can't do it. I cannot do it. And also, like, oh my God, I'm sorry, I could go on and on. This is so annoying. Like, no, don't even accept that from any man. Seriously. Because if I go time without, like, for instance, my boyfriend is on a trip right now. He's on a golf trip with, like, 12 of his work friends. Okay. And he's, like, he calls me and texts me more than I do when he's away, if that makes sense. Like, last night I was having a movie night with my friend and he FaceTimed me like towards the end of the movie night, but we were still like chatting for like 2 hours after we finished the movie, so I didn't answer his FaceTime. And then I FaceTimed him back after she left, obviously, but then he texts me like immediately this morning, like, good morning, even if it's not like he's responding every 5 seconds, which I don't expect him to do. At like the least he does is like he makes sure that he says good night and good morning if he's gone. And like he's going to respond to me as well if I reached out to him and was like, "Hey," or said anything, like he would respond to me. And so it's just crazy to me. Like, I don't know. He would always make sure to be in contact with me. He wouldn't just like forget, like, oh, I forgot and then I fell asleep. That's just not a thing, because like he cares about me and he wants to make sure that. And also he would much rather be hanging out with me than his ex. Like, that just kind of shows that, like, what was the priority there? Obviously hanging out with his ex was a priority over hanging out with you, because you forgot that you were hanging out. Even if you forgot, like, you would still want to hang out with. I just can't. Sorry. I can't. I'm just stressed.
If you want extra content weekly, head over to patreon.com/storytimesociety and become a member on there for extra content. Love you.
Okay, this is 10 days later. Okay, I did not think I would be posting an update on this situation, but so much has happened since I posted the original. For those of you who didn't read my mini update in the comments of the first thread, my ex-boyfriend did in fact cheat on me with Kathy, his ex-girlfriend, and I did in fact break up with him. For a few days, he left me alone. Then last weekend, on the day of my brother's wedding, my ex decided it was wise to crash the reception. He showed up in a full suit, made nice, with some extended family of mine that he knew, and then sought me out as I slipped away to use the bathroom. You won't believe how shocked and unsettled I was to see him there. As some of you may know, I blocked and deleted him from everything when I broke up with him, so I guess he showed up as a last-ditch effort. Why he thought it was a good idea to crash my brother's wedding, I have no clue. Regardless, I immediately told him he had to leave, or I would tell the groomsmen to escort his ass out. He didn't seem fazed. He just grabbed me by the arms and said very clearly, "I can't survive without you," looking me in the eyes and holding on to me so tight it hurt. In that moment, I went from unsettled to flat out scared. I told him I had nothing to say to him and that he needed help, but he acted as if he couldn't hear me. He just held tighter, leaned in really close as if he was going to kiss me, and then when I turned my head away, he broke down and started crying, full on sobbing in the middle of the hallway. One of the groomsmen came around just in time, recognized my ex, assessed the situation, and then peeled him off of me. He didn't call the police. He just said to my ex, quote, "Listen, man, I've been there, but you can't do shit like this. You gotta go home." For whatever reason, my ex listened. A couple minutes later, he left in a cab, and I explained what happened to the groomsmen in further detail. We decided we would tell my brother after, as to not ruin his and his wife's special day. It was a small town venue, so there was no security there, but I trusted that my ex wouldn't come back. Fast forward to last night, a week later, I was sitting at home talking to my roommate, and all of a sudden I got a call from an unknown number. I didn't answer it the first time, but the second time I did. It wasn't him. It was actually his ex, the girl he had cheated on me with, Kathy. Apparently, after I broke up with him, they got back together, and she was calling me to confirm that he had crashed my brother's wedding. I told her the truth, and then I politely asked her not to contact me again because I want no involvement in their relationship. She popped off on me, saying, quote, "You're a stupid effing slut. Why would you get so pissed at him for cheating on you and then cheat with him when he's with someone else, you dumb bee?" It was a whole lot of that and a whole lot of screaming. I have no idea what he told her, but nothing happened between us at the wedding. He tried to kiss me. I didn't accept it, and then he got kicked out. I said as much, and then I hung up. And now people are saying she's pregnant with his kid. I don't know. It's a whole bunch of crazy, and I'm glad I don't have to deal with it anymore. The fact that he had me convinced that he was a decent person for 5 straight months is embarrassing. Obviously, he's in a bad place right now. I've been there, as I'm sure we all have, so I can empathize with him in this strange way, but this is too much. I'm going to get tested very soon, just in case, and then hopefully I can put this relationship behind me. Oh, yikes. Jankies. Seriously, that girl, Kathy, you can actually kick rocks, girl. Like, girl, not the, why would you get so pissed at him for cheating on you and then cheat with him when he's with someone else? Make it make sense, girl. Make it make sense, girl. Because you literally did that. So what are you talking about? What are you talking about? Seriously. And also, this guy, he listened to that guy telling him to go home because he probably respects men more than he respects you wanting him to go home and wanting him to leave you alone. Like, yeah, of course, he was like, a man came up and was like, hey, you need to leave so easily. He just left. But, like, no. Yep. People are asking about the groomsman who saved her, and OP said he's single and we may or may not have danced together for most of the night. Before and after my ex crashed the party, LOL. That said, I'm not looking at the moment. Let's just say I need a breather. Yeah, you definitely need a breather, but, like, nothing's wrong with having a little bit of fun with a fella, you know? The top comment says, it's always good when 2 shitty people end up together. Saves others from being pulled into their messes. I hope the pregnancy info is wrong, though. Some people really shouldn't be parents. 1000% agree with that. Okay, we're going to move on to the next story, and it's titled, I, 25 female, think my boyfriend, 31 male, is trying to train me. I don't even know what this is. Sorry if this sounds disorganized, but he's literally in the bed beside me right now, and I'm losing my mind. He has a habit of discouraging me from doing things he likes, not by pointing it out to me, but by physically stopping me. For example, he hates that I bite my nails, and to discourage me, he slaps my hands out of my mouth. This is weird, right? Like, I didn't notice how much he did this until he was visiting for my birthday, and I made popcorn so that we can watch Stranger Things on Netflix. I eat quickly. I always have. He decided I was eating the popcorn too fast and smacked my hand away and snapped, "Slow down." Like, what? It's the popcorn I paid and made for us. It's my effing birthday tomorrow. Let me eat popcorn. I feel embarrassed and sad and kind of stunned. I stopped eating it altogether because I was self-conscious, and he didn't even eat hardly any of it. He wasn't worried I wouldn't leave him any. He just didn't like the way that I ate it. WTF. I've sat and thought about this and realized he does this all the time. He tries to grab my e-cig because he doesn't like it. He tells me off and smacks my hands away if I eat snacks too quickly. He slaps my hands out of my mouth if I'm biting my nails and calls me disgusting. I get that these could be annoying habits, but am I wrong to be hurt by how he decides to go about telling me? I've never had any partner take issue with my mannerisms before. I feel like a dog. What do I do here? Oh. No. No thanks. Go get, like, he needs to just have a boyfriend. Have a different girlfriend. Like, go have a girlfriend that you don't hate every single move that she makes. Because that's just a little bit wild in behavior. Relevant comments, someone said, quote, see, our relationship has a lot of horseplay, so wrestling, tickling, playfully slapping, etc. isn't common. Wait, what? I don't remember. I don't think she said that. I'm confused. How do you feel about this horseplay? Does it ever go longer than you would have liked? Does it ever happen at times you didn't really want to happen? Do you ever get told you brought it upon yourself? Does it ever get a little too intense? Do you ever have a hard time stopping him when he's horseplaying and you want him to stop? Have you ever felt like you're not quite able to breathe during one of these horseplay times? Has he ever accidentally hurt you with it? If he has accidentally hurt you, has he blamed you? And OP said this is a lot to think about. Okay, but where is that? Please tell me where that is. I don't remember reading that at all in the original post that she posted. Yeah, I mean, that's just crazy. My boyfriend eats really fast, and like then he'll be upset after he eats like too fast. And I'm like, so sometimes I remind him if he's eating super fast, I'm like, don't eat too fast. Like you're gonna get a tummy ache, or like you're not gonna be happy when you get done and you're eating too fast. But then like I'm not gonna be like smacking his hand off the plate if he still wants to eat fast. I just like to remind him because he talks about how it bothers him sometimes that he does that. So I just am like, you're eating really fast. But I'm not gonna be like, okay, puppy dog, stop eating so fast. Smack his hand out of the way. Like that's crazy. Edit. Okay, so clearly the fact that we play fight as a couple doesn't make this acceptable. For people asking, there have been times where I'd ask him to stop, which is usually dismissed. Last night was the first time I felt ashamed what I was doing, and I told him, I really hate that you do that. He made a frustrated kind of noise, and then we both stopped eating it. So I have brought it up, sort of, but I need to address it further. Thank you for all of your comments and advice. I really appreciate it. See, I'm just annoyed that I don't see the horseplay comment, but I guess it's good that they included that in the relevant comments because I wouldn't have known about it. Horseplay? I don't like that. 3 months later, there's an update. So it's been a while since I last posted, but a few people have asked for an update, so here we are. I read your posts and sat on it for a few days. I knew I had to break up with him, but I wanted to talk to my family first. I went to Portugal with them to a family wedding, and it was beautiful, and exactly what I needed to clear my head: alcohol, sun, and my giant Catholic family. I talked to my mom and dad, and they were both shocked. They asked if he had hurt me physically, and fortunately I was able to answer no, honestly. They said to use the long weekend away to really think about what I wanted, and it was great advice. I watched my cousin and his fiance getting married in the most beautiful ceremony and realized I'd never have this type of relationship with my now ex-boyfriend, because it wasn't just slapping things away from me. It was constant criticism. I was never really relaxed around him. He would get shitty when I was too affectionate, i.e., more than a quick hug or a peck on the lips. He would criticize what I was wearing, my job, my house. Everything was under constant scrutiny. But when I would ask for verbal affection, he would just say, "Oh, that's hard for me." One time he laughed in my face when I tried to initiate sex, and I cried myself to sleep. I should have dumped him after that. So I got home and broke up with him. Unfortunately, I had to do it over the phone due to distance, and that even if I had traveled to his house, I wouldn't have wanted to do it with his parents there. We talked, and I linked him to the last post because I had everything in writing there, and I wanted him to read the responses. He made so many excuses and promises that it would never happen again, and I'm not anyone from your past, referring to my abusive ex-boyfriend who, actually liked to hit me. I feel like not hitting me hard does not excuse raising your hands to me for constant criticism for withholding affection after many conversations. I stayed firm and the relationship is over, and it's honestly for the best. It sucked super hard for a few days before I stopped myself from wallowing and got on with life, which has been great again. I've started seeing someone who is in the same career as me, so he gets that we both could travel away from each other, and I think I'm moving to London for 2 years in January, which is like a dream come true. So anyway, I just wanted to say thanks for the advice and knocking some sense into me. I think I need to learn a bit more about what is acceptable in a relationship, but I have plenty of time to do that. Edit, I just wanted to say that the amount of supportive messages I've received both on this post and the last have been overwhelming. Also, all the anti-nail biting advice, thanks, I'm working on it. It's been an eye-opening experience, and I'm glad that I had so many wonderful people here offering their encouragement. Thank you for everything. It's just actually, I'm so glad that she, moved on. But it's so crazy how hard it is to get out of relationships. I know not everyone has that experience, but, for me personally, I've had that experience, and I don't know why it was so hard for me to get out of my last relationship, because every time we broke up, obviously he would come back and be begging for me back, but I don't know. It's it's so weird because when I'm looking at this kind of thing, I'm just like, girl, break up with him. And of course I say that a lot in these episodes. I'm like, just break up with him. He's not worth it. Don't date this man. But then obviously at the same time, I'm thinking in my head, would I be able to break up with this person? Because yeah, you're hearing all the terrible stuff that he's doing. And that doesn't make it But I'm sure they also have good moments, which obviously does not make it okay and does not make like mean you should stay with that person because you guys have good moments like at all. But you know what I'm saying? Like it's so easy to just look at something and be like, dude, just break up with him. He's not worth it. You'll find someone better. Like you'll end up so much better off. But it's so hard to convince yourself that when you're in it, like when you're in a relationship with someone that you like really don't want to be with. Like obviously I knew that I didn't want to be with this guy, but like I was gaslighting myself into like I'm never going to find someone I like again. Like so many things, there's thoughts running through my head. But then obviously when you're far away from the situation, you look back and you're like, damn girl, like you could have saved yourself a lot of time and a lot of effort and a lot of like exhaustion by just breaking up with him and leaving it at that the first time. Like we would have dated for a year and then we would have been done. But instead we dated for 4 years because I just kept going back to him. And it wasn't like this or anything. Like it wasn't like an abusive relationship or anything, but it was like tumultuous, obviously, and toxic in its own ways. But I just always think about that. I'm like, it's so crazy how hard it is to like get out of relationships that you just aren't, that like you're not supposed to be in. Like I knew I was not supposed to be in that relationship, and I had to literally convince myself for years and years and years that like, hey, like you shouldn't be with this person. But then I would just it was just crazy. Like, so honestly, I feel for this girl. The top comment says, this is why abusers isolate their victims, so they can't get perspective from family and friends to realize that they need to run. And then someone responded and said, I think this is also why people who write to Reddit disproportionately need to break up. They either won't talk to anyone in real life because they've been isolated, or they know somewhere deep in their souls that if they share what's happening, the person will be horrified and they can't handle that from someone they actually know. Or they've been surrounded by people who normalize poor treatment. My mom now says my ex-husband was abusive, but when we were married and I was trying to figure out where normal was, she spent a lot of time talking about how marriage is hard. Oh my God, that kind of reminds me of like, if you guys have seen the clips of Kanye West's new documentary that's out in theaters for some reason, I've been wanting to watch it, but like, I don't want to go to the theaters to watch that. Like, I'm not, when I go to the theaters, I want to have fun. Like, I'm not trying to freaking torture myself with a Kanye West documentary, but I was seeing, and it's so crazy to look back on, like clips of Kris Jenner being like saying to Kim, like, I don't think you're there for him the way that you should be. Like, I don't think you give him enough attention. Meanwhile, this man is throwing full blown tantrums, screaming in her face, screaming in everyone in her family's face, her mom's face, like genuinely being so scary, which obviously that's like an untreated mental illness. Like I'm pretty sure it had, because he was off his meds or something. I think that's what it was, like because he's bipolar, if I'm correct, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. But it's really crazy to look at that, because it's like I would, oh my God, if my mom told me something like that, like, and thank goodness like her and her sisters were like, girl, that, don't say that, why are you saying that? Like she was like, Kim was like, I don't have much left to give to him. I have kids, I have a business, like I can't deal with having a fifth, or what, like another child that's supposed to be my husband but is acting like a child and screaming in my face, and like honestly scary. I'd be scared for my life. This man looked so terrifying, screaming at these people. I would be so nervous. Like I don't know if she ever like was physically abused or anything, but I would not be surprised, honestly, because he was, and he still, I'm pretty sure, is. So honestly, bless his wife if they're still married. I feel so bad for her. All right, the title of the next story is My 19 female boyfriend, 20 male's eyes scared the crap out of me. I'm not sure what to do from here. Posting on my spam because my man's on Reddit. My boyfriend and I have been together for 6 months, but have known each other and been friends with each other since we were 17 and 18. I mention this because it's relevant, but he has never ever been abusive or manipulative, either verbally, physically, or emotionally. Never ever a hint of any of that nonsense. We're both very level-headed people, so no crazy fights with screaming or anything like that, as we view that as disrespectful. There are some disagreements and stresses we have as we're long distance and pursuing different paths in life at the moment, but we have a very healthy relationship. Now, here's the main issue, and it's kind of insane sounding, but I don't know. A couple of months ago, we were having a civil disagreement about something, and he was glancing at me from the corner of his eye and speaking to me, and the look in his eyes genuinely scared the shit out of me. And it's not about the eye color or anything like that, it's the look. You know, you hear about the soulless eyes that serial killers have. Like, no joke, that was 100% there. And I haven't ever gotten that something is wrong, you need to run feeling before with anyone else's. It obviously wasn't anything intentional on his part, and he was speaking very calmly, but I immediately stopped disagreeing and just accepted whatever he was saying because I was so unnerved. I didn't mention anything to him and just ignored it. But the next time we disagreed about something, the look was back, and I again got so genuinely frightened, I just agreed with whatever he was saying. This doesn't happen every time we disagree or argue, but it happens enough to make me question whether I'm safe with him. I know a lot of people say this on this app, but he's actually an amazing partner to me, and I'm so very happy with him. I'm just looking for advice on what to do next and how seriously I should consider this feeling. Whoa, that's kind of scary. I wish I could see the look. Like, what is it? I don't know what to say about this, to be honest with you. Like, I have no clue. And I don't think that it sounds insane. I understand, like, that feeling of, because not to compare, like, my dad and his, like, my dad's way of not punishing, but, like, I don't know. What do you call it when you're, like, whatever. My dad, like, when we were growing up, he could just look at us and he makes this face, like, and just say, like, stop it. And I'm not kidding, I would literally, like, poop a little bit. Like, I'd be so scared. I'd be like, okay, yep, stop it. Got it. Done. Done deal. Because his face was scary. Like, he's like, stop it. And I'm just like, but he didn't have to be, like, screaming or anything. He was just like, or he would just give us that look, like, I don't even know what, like, I don't even know how to do it. But I would be so scared. I'd be like, okay, yep, I'm done. See ya. So I can understand that. I mean, I never felt like he was going to, like, hit me or, like, do anything bad to me. But, yeah, so I can't really relate that much to this, to be honest. Okay, we're going to read some of the comments. That is your primitive brain recognizing a threat. It can be wrong, but you definitely should not just dismiss it. Listen to your gut. When I was teaching, I got that feeling about a new student. He hadn't done anything to me, wasn't even in my class, but he looked at me once in the hallway and he had dead eyes. Like his humanity or soul wasn't there. Empty. I was so freaked out, chills down my spine, but told myself I was overreacting. Other teachers loved this kid, so I chalked it up to me being tired or something. No. This effer lit a girl on fire a week later, poured something on her, and lit her on fire. She didn't know him. He said he saw her in class and decided he wanted to watch her burn. What the freak? Okay, I'm so scared of that. Oh my god. Like, oh my god. Someone said, I took a self-defense class once taught by a police officer. He said, if a guy ever gives you a look like this and demonstrated, he is dangerous and you need to stay away from him. I can't describe the expression he had, but he's a trained cop and believed that certain expressions showed a man is dangerous, so trust your instincts. Many people just get subconscious feelings about someone else and just feel that person is dangerous without knowing why. It's their subconscious warning them based on subtle cues their conscious mind is not aware of. You are in tune enough with your subconscious that you actually know why he frightens you. Listen to your subconscious. If you're right, you might save your own life. If you're wrong, well, there are plenty of other guys out there who won't terrify you during arguments. So, win-win. I wouldn't risk staying with him personally. His look would be a deal breaker. I feel like it's so, like, I was just talking about how it's hard to get out of a relationship. I mean, imagine, like, this being the relationship and, like, he's giving you a look and then it's, like, you think you're overreacting. But all these people are right. It's definitely that's a big tell. And that's so scary. Okay, this is more than 8 months later. September 16th, 2025. For context, I made a post in the beginning of the year asking for advice because my boyfriend would get this weird hollow look in his eyes whenever we would argue. If you're curious, look up false killer whale stares, and that's the best comparison I can make. False killer whale? What the heliante? Okay. I don't know how you make that face when you're a person, but okay. Thank you for that. Regardless, the post got a lot more attention than I was expecting. A fairly popular YouTuber even reacted to it. That was wild. Oh, I'm clicking on this. Who is this? I don't know this guy, but he has 471,000 subscribers. Okay, King, go off. I was super overwhelmed with all the comments and DMs telling me different things, so I chose to just forget I ever made the post in the first place and move on. After all, my boyfriend and I were in a totally super healthy relationship, right? Right? It's so funny looking back at my original post because I insisted so hard that we had a healthy relationship when really something was always off in hindsight. But since there was no textbook abuse, I just ignored it in the beginning. But after I made that post, I started being more critical of the way he treated me and noticing things that I hadn't before. Now, I'm not sure if that new awareness is what caused more arguments to start happening, or if it was just because we stopped being long distance and started to live together, but we started fighting daily. Turns out he was pretty controlling from the beginning, discreetly making me feel bad about hanging out with friends and family instead of him, insisting I not go out for safety reasons. After a while, this turned into him getting angry if I gave literally anyone else attention, even my brothers. He would get mad if I didn't approve plans, either with friends or family, with him ahead of time. But I wouldn't have to approve his plans. Always checking my phone, but he'd get mad and snatch his phone if I ever looked through his. You get the picture. All the while, he was free to have his own social life and do whatever he wanted. And if I ever complained about any of it, he would call me dramatic. There were so many other rules that I had to live by or else I'd get ghosted. I was a pretty calm person before getting into this relationship, but I would often find myself exploding out of frustration of being isolated, not heard, and humiliated. For example, once I was crying because we were arguing for so long and I just wanted to go to sleep, but he wouldn't let me, and he started laughing / imitating my crying face. I genuinely exploded and started yelling, and he didn't apologize, but rather said that he was just trying to lighten the mood. I don't know why I believed it, but I felt so bad for yelling that I spent the next 2 days pacifying him so he would forgive me. You might be asking, OP, he was an immature control freak. Why didn't you dump him? Good question. One, for the longest time, I genuinely felt like the bad guy in our arguments because he would never yell, but I would. And I'm not saying I'm perfect. There were definitely mistakes that I made, and I should have handled myself better. But in our arguments, they would last hours because he would drag them on by connecting every mistake to something bigger. If I let my phone die while on a call with him, that meant I didn't love / respect / care about him. I would get overwhelmed and ask for a break or to go to sleep, and he would refuse and continue on and drop in hurtful comments and jokes until finally I would snap. And the second I snapped and yelled, I became the villain in my mind and I would feel terrible. There were many moments I wanted to leave, but I felt like I couldn't leave because of the mental games he would play. He had this thing where he would love to punish me and give me consequences for my bad behavior. These consequences could be 3 days without speaking. It could be having to cancel a hangout I was looking forward to, etc. But after any consequence, he would follow it up with a stubborn showering of what felt like genuine affection, love, and comfort. I would be angry and push him away, and he would persist until I wasn't angry anymore. The way he would act after I'd been isolated made me feel like nobody has ever loved or will love me like that. He admitted to me once that he would do similar things to his dog when he was a kid. He'd beat / pinch his pets growing up just so that when they would cry or yelp, he could hug and kiss them. Before we started dating, he told me he liked to comfort people. I didn't think that meant he would take it upon himself to provide both the suffering and the subsequent comfort. Is that not insane? I can't make this shit up. The dude was a nut. And what's even more mind-boggling is that everyone thinks he's the sweetest, most respectful guy out there. Hell, I was good friends with him before we dated, and I thought he was the best thing since sliced bread. Whenever I finally had the balls to break up with him, our mutual friends were shocked to find out that I ended it because he's just the nicest guy, and, oh, OP, he was husband material. Ugh. Sorry for the rambling. Even though we broke up 2 months ago now, it's honestly still pretty confusing to get my mind around. Anyways, we're done now, and I'm never planning on speaking to him again. I definitely wasted a lot of time with him, but oh well. Better than wasting a lifetime, I guess. Moral of the story, listen to your gut, or at least some type of common sense. What? That is so scary that he even admitted that as well. Like, he was self-aware that that's what he did. He was self-aware that he would inflict pain upon someone or an animal or something, and that just so that he could comfort them. That is the most insane thing I've ever heard. I have never heard someone say that. I've never heard that. I've never even thought about the fact that that could be a thing. Other than it sounds like almost Munchausen by proxy, like when they want their kid to, when they want to be able to be there for their kid, or like to be able to comfort their kids, so they inflict like an illness on them or something, or like pretend that they have a certain illness, you know. I'm pretty sure that's what Munchausen by proxy is, but that's crazy. Yeah, I can't even wrap my head around that. Someone said, wow, very textbook cycle of abuse stuff. I'm so sorry you experienced this. The loving stuff he did was what's called love bombing, and is a tactic abusers use to keep their victims dependent on them. The cycle is tension, incident, reconciliation, calm, and that just repeats over and over. You'd have the tension buildup of trying to follow his rules but still want to live your life. The incident of a blow up when things got to too much of a head, the reconciliation where he would love bomb you back to not being mad at him, and the calm period before he would start to ramp up things to get back to the tension stage. Very proud of you for leaving this guy. It can be really hard to leave an abuser and often takes people several tries, where they end up going back before ever getting out for good. Edited to add, the kneeling until you blow up and then he makes it look like you're the crazy one is super common abuse tactic too. Basically, they'll poke and prod and say increasingly horrible and enraging things, but since they're sociopathic, they don't feel things the same way, so they stay calm for all of it. Finally, the victim will lash out, and then suddenly, it's all about how irrational and insane and emotional you are. It's how they manage to keep public opinion on their side too. Now he gets to say that you're the ex who was always screaming when he stayed calm. If things had ever gotten to the point of a police call, you would look unstable, and he would just look calm, perplexed, and like the innocent boyfriend. Yep. Clock it. Someone said, I've read that stare comes up in narcissists. If you haven't already, read up on the narcissistic abuse. He sounds like a covert narcissist. Everyone loves them, but they're abusive and controlling behind the mask of generosity and performative kindness. Rather than beating yourself up about spending so long with this POS, consider this. You have experienced and learned something profoundly useful that will serve you well for the rest of your life. You are young, and from now on, you will always be alert to this horrible kind of control and help yourself and others avoid it. I have only just experienced controlling narcissistic abuse at the ripe age of 40 from an in-law, and now I'm highly in tune into that behavior in others. I wouldn't say I see it all the time, but when I do, I really do. In colleagues, the partners of friends, people from my past, it's such a gift to be able to see it clearly. Yeah, it's so much easier to see it clearly as well when you're like not in a relationship with that person. I feel like you kind of deny it for a while until you kind of take a step back from the relationship and then realize that, especially when it's like a narcissist, because it's always like, oh, well, everyone loves him and he's like so social and everyone's like obsessed with him. And so why, like he would never be that person, the person that like is scary or whatever. Someone said, good on you. That creepy stare definitely was your gut picking up on something your brain hadn't caught up to yet. It's called thin slicing. Our subconscious reads subtle cues in people like body language, tone, or even a stare and flags danger before we can explain why. Turns out your instincts were dead on. The stare matched the controlling, manipulative behavior. Be glad you dodged that whale before it dragged you under. OP said, I'm so glad. This whole experience has definitely made me start thinking twice about gut feelings and our subconscious. Although in my case, I'm not sure how much of it was a supernatural gut feeling, like something is off and I don't know why, or just common sense pattern recognition that the average person would be able to identify. It's so crazy to think like there's so much, like I've never heard of this thin slicing. That's so interesting. There's just so many things like that I haven't learned, I guess is a good way to explain it. Obviously, not everyone is going to learn everything in their entire lives, but I really wanted to decorate for Halloween today because I decorated my living room and it's really cute, but I didn't. It's hard because what do I do? Like, do I just replace the pictures with something that's more Halloween-y? Or I guess I could change the color of the like lamp back there. I don't know, guys. But I really want to do like a fun little Halloween set for the month of October. And when the month of October is over, I think I might extend like Halloween and like that kind of vibe into November up until Christmas. And like usually I'm excited for getting into the Christmas spirit, but I think I've really come to terms with the fact that I'm like very much a Halloween vibe girl. And I really love like the vibes of Halloween. And I want to just be Halloween all year round. And like I'm not looking forward to celebrating Christmas for some reason, which usually I am, but I've really started to like love, like I'm always, even the past like 3-4 months, I've been just obsessing over Halloween and like Halloween vibes and listening to like Halloween ambiance and being crazy. Maybe I am. Am I the crazy one? What is that? What is that saying? I don't even know. But anyways, that's the end of that episode. Let me know what you thought in the comments, please. I would love to know your thoughts on all these stories. Guys, I've been wanting to, I said this in a previous episode, but I've been really wanting to Twitch stream, but I don't want to Twitch stream Reddit stories. And someone said to do confessions, like have people put like confessions into a Google form and read them. But I don't know if I would have enough to be like Twitch streaming. I don't know. I really like the idea of Twitch streaming, but then again, like I would get on Twitch and probably have 0 viewers because I don't have any followers on Twitch. Like, so I would just be streaming for nothing. But I feel like it would be fun because I don't really play games. Although I was playing Webkins the other day, and I was like, maybe I could Twitch stream Webkins. But I'm not like a gamer girl, so I don't really want to like Twitch stream games. But I don't know why I've had this like. I think it's because I've been watching a lot of Hassan Piker on Twitch, and for some reason that's like inspiring me, even though I'm not gonna be like, he's so smart as well. I cannot even imagine, like I would never, like, yes, of course I talk about like my views in politics sometimes, but obviously I'm not like the smartest, or I'm not the brightest crayon in the box. I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed. Yeah. But he just like is so smart, and I've learned so much from him. But yeah, I think that's what's inspired me. But I would never want to be a political fucking streamer. No, thank you. I don't know how he does it, because I like already consume a lot of political like content just to like keep up and with the days, you know, because especially out here when the world's on fire right now currently, and I've been scared. So I don't know how he does it just all day, 8 hours a day, just like, well, I know he games sometimes, but recently it's been a lot of politics and it's just crazy. But yet here I am listening to that entire stream, so it's like, okay, girl. But yeah, anyways, love you guys so much. Love you guys. Okay, talk to you in the next episode. Bye.
Storytime Society is now available on all listening platforms. If you are on any of those listening platforms, I would really appreciate it if you rated me 5 stars. Thanks for all the support.
Love you guys. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.